Dorothy here at Done by Dorothy, and I am here today to share a flip through of a journal I've been working on. I know I've been gone for a while with everything going on in the world. We've had sickness and family losses and just, a lot of things going on. Um, I hope everyone's doing well, but we are back again, and I wanted to flip through. I used Tsunami Rose's kit, Life of Bloom. And I will make sure that I leave links for it in the description box below if you're interested in it. We'll be having another flip through tomorrow of sort of a hybrid type journal that I made. And then Wednesday, I will have a preview of the Paris kit that we're going to be using. And then Thursday, we will launch into a new journal. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is the Life of Bloom, and I've just called it a Bloom, and I will be listing it in my Etsy store. It is a soft paper cover, sort of like manila file folder, a little bit thicker than that because there's some extra added, paper on it. And if I'm slow today, please bear with me because, like I said, I've been off, so you sort of get out of your groove. If I have to pause, I'm sorry. It's to take a drink of water because my throat gets really dry and crazy right now. So here we go. So I just used a ribbon closure, so it's pretty simple. And let's see, on the cover, of course, we have the Life of Bloom paper, and I did do like a watercolor effect with her paper because normally she has very bright, vibrant colors, and I did do a watercolor effect, and I'll try to do a video on sort of explaining how I do that, so you can see that. So here's one of the bingo cards, a piece of vintage fabric, and I hand sewed around it just to add a little texture. This is a vintage fabric sample, vintage music paper. This is some of my half yo-yos. Of course, a piece of the page. Some lace that I wrapped completely around the spine, some of the circles, vintage music. I did a binding, a tied binding, with the same ribbon I used for the closure. So, if you do right and you fill them up, then you can actually untie it and remove them and put them back. And there's the back, and you can sort of see that faded vintage watercolor effect that I've got going on there. And of course, we've got lots of little fabric on the edge. So bear with me. Let me get a drink. Like I said, sorry about that, but my voice gets winded really easy. So some lace, vintage music, vintage book page. There's some of that fabric again, one of the circles, one of the postcards, two little tuck-ins. Again, here you can really see that faded vintage watercolory effect. There's 3 signatures. It is a traveler's notebook size, so it's 4 1/4 times 8 or by 8. Each of the, even though they can be removed because they're bound in by ribbon, they are actually sewed with a 3-hole pamphlet stitch, and there are 3 signatures. So there's that, and you can really see that. It's just, I love that effect. Some little tags, and there are, some little word tags. If we could see a miracle of a single flower clearly, our whole life would change. Lots of little vintage ads. Again, another vintage music sheet. Tea-dyed paper. Lots of tea-dyed paper, so there's lots of writing. There's one of those vintagey watercolor effect pages. I loved how they turned out. And of course, it's never anything, never anything you try to do on your own. Flowers grow out of dark moments. And here's some of our vintage baking sheet that we do. Or not vintage baking sheet, but our dyed baking sheet. I will get with it, you guys. Again, another one of the pages. And I love the watercolor effect. Just love how it comes through. And there's one of the postcards just clipped in. And a vintage book sheet. This is actually from a book from Paris, 1921. So, and there's vintage, and you'll see, I don't know if you can see, maybe I can pull it up and see. You can see that it almost looks like it has like, you know, if you get old sort of moldy book pages, it sort of has that effect. It's not, but it sort of has that effect to give it vintage. There's a vintage flower page. Again, a vintage tuck, and again, that's a page out of the Herbalist book, and it's a vintage sheet with still pictures. I believe 1925 was the date on it. To backwards. And the little circle there, one of the pockets that come in the kit. Again, the back feed eye page. Again, I just love, you can see sort of some of the vibrant colors here that are normally in her kit, but where I did the watercolor effect. Oh. And I just love how it is. Of course, there's a tea-dyed doily. There's a pocket. And again, I use a lot of the vintage Herbalist pages in here because I just thought it went, you know, with Life of Bloom. It's sort of what let me make sure I have that in frame so you can see it still. And again, just one of our little pages put in there. And again, the back pages come out with really pretty coloring on those. So sort of did like a faded effect. And again, I used several of those Paris sheets. Oh. And I sort of love how you get that hazy effect. And another clipped in postcard. And there's another one, the other side of that. Paris pages. Jeez, she can't talk today. And then this folds out. It's an 8.5 by 11. Oh, no, it's not. I thought it was. It's not. I've kept them where you can journal on them and put them together. And they're just sort of decorated, and that just sort of goes there as an extra decoration. And it's clipped, so it just slides in the pocket. And then that sort of will catch and hang on the pocket to hold it up so it doesn't slide down. And you can see sort of here is one that did not get I didn't do the sort of watercolor effect on, so you can see how bright and bold it is. And there's some, I don't know if you can see where it's tea-dyed. Vintage music sheet. And that's the first signature. And then the second one, again, it starts out with vintage music sheet. Here's one of those Paris pages. Lots of journaling areas and the Herbalist pages. I did leave this very sort of neutral with not a massive amount, because I know a lot of times people, you know, they like to add, you know, items to it or whatever. So there's a tag in there, and it's just hung on there with a clip. So it's just basically a sort of, I would more consider it like a naked journal. So, you know, it's ready with basic embellishments, but, you know, just ready for you to add. There's a part of a Harper's New York Monthly magazine. It's a vintage page. And there's a vintage speller page out of an old children's spelling book. Again, a doily, a pocket with some tags in it. And again, like I said, you know, it's just ready for you to throw some embellishments on. Again, another piece of fabric. There's the other piece of that spelling page. And the Harper's Weekly. There's the baking paper. Again, here's the pocket. The postcard. I'm not sure what's And here, oh, this is a guest check. Some of that paper. There's another one of the herbalist pages. So yeah, I just try to keep it sort of basic where you could decorate it and add what you wanted to. Like I said, this will be listed in my Etsy store. Vintage music sheet, that's what that was. And then the third one. And again, just some tags tucked under a paper clip. Vintage music sheet. I just love how the watercolor effect sort of did. There's a pocket. And a little double tag. And some of them I didn't. They've been inked. But as far as decorating the back or whatever, I've sort of left that up to, you know, whoever buys it, if they're, what they want to put with it. I can't get it back in. I'll just put it in there later. I'll slide it back in there in a little bit. And there's a page. And again, some of these are vintage, so I've sort of kept them in their vintage state because I think it sort of gives it a little bit more flavor. There's another piece of a dyed coffee filter page, so it's, you know, you can do whatever with it. Again, another page just with a tag tucked over. And again, just some of that, lots and lots of, another little guest check tucked in there. And see there, you can see how bright and bold it was. That's what things were. But I really liked the watercolor effect. And again, the herbalist page. Where flowers bloom, so does hope. Again, there's another little, one of the page tucks that we did. With some extra little labels tucked in there. So yeah, I just really loved the watercolor effect that it did. And like I said, we'll try to get a video. There's another one of the spelling pages. The vintage music sheet. Then there's the back page with the fabric. One of the Paris book pages, vintage music. Just some other pieces out of the kit. So yeah. That's the bloom. What I consider, like, well, that's what I call it, is bloom. And like I said, I'll be listing it in my Etsy shop, and it is a naked journal, so it doesn't have all the extra added things that I normally put in, but it's just very basic, so you can sort of decorate it yourself. You know, a lot of times people love decorating, but it's the structural part, you know, the cover, putting the, you know, the signatures in, all that kind of thing that people don't want to deal with. So I thought I would, you know, sort of go down a different route and do that. So I did want to come and share that with you. And again, this was the Life of Bloom kit. She actually has several different pieces to that. I want to think there's like 4 that I actually use. And like I said, I'll link them below in the description box. But I wanted to come and share and just let you guys see. Like I said, I'll have another one that will be going up tomorrow that we'll be using a different kit, and it's absolutely adorable. I fell in love with it. It's sort of a little bit different. And, you know, if you're interested in maybe seeing how this is made, you know, then leave it in the comments. Let me know, and, you know, we can, you know, do a tutorial on that. Same thing with tomorrow's. If you're interested in it, we can do a tutorial on that. So just let me know. And it's great to be back doing another video. I've missed you guys. So, you know, stay tuned. We have a lot of stuff coming up. So I just wanted to share with you today. Have a great day, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.